Hey friends, this is Jose Alvarez from beautiful and foggy 39 degrees in the morning, Congress, New York. And today I want to teach you quickly about how do spiritual gifts function. I think one of the most important scriptures in learning how to minister in the way that Jesus ministered can be found in John 5:19 and 5:20. John 5:19, 5:20. Then Jesus answered and said unto them, Most assuredly I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself but what he sees the Father doing, for whatever he does, the Son also does in like manner. When you study that in the Greek, there's a few words that really stand out where it says what he sees the Father doing. That's the word blepo. Blepo. B-L-E-P-O, and on your Strong's Concordance it's 991 if you want to do a word study on blepo. When you look at the word to see in the Greek, there's many different words, different angles to the word to see. One of the words, theodeo, comes from the word theater, which is the kind of scene that you see. It's a kind of scene that you do when you go to a movie and you're just engaged with this film and focus on it for the whole time that you're there. But the word blepo is a glance. It doesn't mean that you have to register anything when you're there's times when you look with the intent of registering, understanding something, but blepo is one of those things that I can look here, I can look there, and it's an immediate it's an immediate method of seeing. You just glance to see, and I go on. If a little girl comes into my office right now, and if she's wearing a red dress, I don't have to go to school to understand or to learn that she's wearing a red dress. Just by glancing at the dress in a millisecond, I know that the dress is red. So that's how Jesus says about what he sees the Father doing within himself. Now let me explain to you more about this word blepo. This word blepo, when it's talking about spiritual gifts, it has to do with intuitive knowledge, intuition. As I had taught you, there's two kinds of knowledge. There's a progressive knowledge in which a person goes to school and he sits there day after day and he's acquiring knowledge. But intuitive knowledge is just what I said about if a little girl comes into my office wearing a red dress, instinctively, intuitively, I just know that her dress is red. That is intuitive knowledge, and that's the word blepo. Blepo is the root of intuitive knowledge. You glance at an object and you know. And that's how spiritual gifts operate. That's how Jesus operated. Jesus operated by just glancing at what the Father was doing in his spirit, and just knowing it, and that was his ministry. And every spiritual gift operates. You learn. Practice makes perfect. By doing it over and over, you learn to just glance in your spirit, know what the Spirit of God is showing you, and just speaking it, or just ministering it, or just walking in it. So therefore, let me see here. Then Jesus answered and he said unto them, Most assuredly I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself but what he sees, what he glances at the Father in his spirit, and intuitively knows what he sees the Father doing, for whatever he does, the Son also does in like manner. And that word like manner is vital. That's the word homoios, which means something which is alike. Two one thing, something that is similar. So here Jesus outlines for us the whole ministry of moving by the Spirit. You glance in the Spirit what you see the Father doing, 1 second at a time, you intuitively know it, and then you try to copy it, homoios, in the most identical way that you can. Whatever you see the Father do internally, you do externally. That's Holy Spirit ministry by spiritual gifts. Prophecy operates like that. I tell people, when you're going to prophesy, your job is not to interpret what the prophecy says. Your job is not to add or to subtract or say, oh, well, I think that maybe God is, once you start saying that kind of stuff, you'll always run into error. Your job in a prophecy is to say, I saw you wearing a black dress with purple and pink polka dots. You don't interpret it. You just say, this is what the Father showed me, and I'm going to release it to you. And many times you'll see that the person starts to cry and weep because maybe they had a dress just like that when they were a little child. So therefore, let me get back to my teaching here. This is how spiritual ministry works. Verse 20, for the Father loves the Son and shows to him all things which he himself does, and greater works than these he will show him, so that you may marvel. That word shows to him is the word deiknuo. And deiknuo is to demonstrate in a way that you can give proof. It is so evident, you have so much proof that it's demonstrated so well to you that you know like what's happening. And spiritual gifts operate like that. Whatever information God gives to you, it's enough. It's enough. He will fully demonstrate, and it's enough information by that glancing for you to fully give the word or do the spiritual ministry that you need to do. And finally, let me show you a few more verses where to show you that God operates by intuitive knowledge. You don't remember one principle about spiritual gifts and prophecy. Many people make this mistake. They say, I will not step out and give the prophecy. I will not step out and obey God unless I understand what he's doing. No, God does not work by understanding first. God works by intuitive knowledge first. If you stay there and you say, well, I'm not going to get out of my seat until God causes me to understand what the heck he's telling me, you might be there for 50 years, because God will not give you understanding first. God gives you intuitive knowledge first. When you step out in that glancing, to step out and in a homoios way to try to copy, replicate what he's telling you, then the understanding comes. First knowledge, then understanding. So therefore, this is a few instances of this word, of this intuitive knowledge. This is a word, there's two words to know. Knowing, progressive knowledge, is the word ginosco, which is like the word conocer in Spanish, which is, conocer means to progressively know something. But oida is intuitive knowledge. Oida is, oh, this little girl that's in front of me, she has a blue dress. Bang, I just know it right now. She has a blue dress. Intuition, instinct. So here's three cases of this oida, of this instinctive, intuitive knowledge. 1 Corinthians 2:9. But it is written, eye has not seen, nor ear heard. Eye has not seen. Oida, intuitive knowledge, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. That's talking about the mysteries of God. God works by mysteries. Everything that God does and has for you is hidden in a mystery that is hidden inside of Christ, who also lives in a mystery inside of you, and it must be revealed. But when God says about revealing a mystery, he says, eye has not seen that mystery. He's using oida. So a mystery, when God starts to reveal a mystery to you in your spirit, it's going to come out of intuitive knowledge. 1 Corinthians 2:11. For who knows the things of man except the spirit of man which is in him? Even so, no one knows the things of God except the Spirit of God. Those two cases of Knowing is oida, intuitive knowledge. It says, no one knows, oida, the things of a man except the spirit of a man. So we know God by our spirit, and the way that we know him and his mysteries is by intuitive knowledge, glancing, knowing intuitively. Even so, no one knows the things of God, oida, except by the Spirit of God. So the Spirit of God works by this intuitive, glancing, intuitive. You just know it. It's a gut feeling knowing. You replicate it and do it. Finally, I just lost my little, sorry, I'm in a little telephone here. Okay. 1 Corinthians 2:12. Now we do not receive the spirit of the world, 1 Corinthians 2:12, but the Spirit which is from God, in order that we might know, oida, intuition, glancing, in order that we might know the things granted to us by God. We have received the Spirit of God so that we might intuitively know the things of God. Finally, 1 Corinthians 13:2. 1 Corinthians 13:2. And though I have all the gift of prophecy, and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and know all mysteries is the word oida. It's not ginosko, which is progressive knowledge. It's intuition, glancing. God shows you. Spiritual gifts work by gut feeling, by intuition, by instinctive. This is how you learn how to quickly get up and start to minister. I tell people, when you get that gut, when you get that first hunch, I always tell people, what is your heart telling you, man? I mean, when we're teaching people how to prophesy, I say, listen, just give one word. God says, open up your mouth and I will fill it. All you need is just one word. Step out in one word. What is your gut telling you? What came to your mind? What came to your heart? Intuition. Speak it out. Replicate it just as you saw it, just as you heard it. Homoios. Copy it. Replicate it outside. Well, this is how spiritual gifts operate. It's all very easy. We'll see you tomorrow with another episode on the 5-Minute Bible Man. Bye.